Hello, everybody. Welcome to today's Coach's Corner, which is going to be amazing. I'm so happy to present these beautiful stories that we share and props as always, and just our knowledge of this beautiful material. So, of course, with every Coach's Corner, we love to hear from you. Feel free to put in the comments. Feel free to ask questions. Feel free to engage with us in this conversation because what we're sharing today is immaculate, if you will, without any lack of a better word there. So my name is Jamel Matias. I'm a certified mindset success coach. And basically, my brand is believe in the unseen. So it's all about believing in yourself and believing that whatever goal you want to achieve is there for you, waiting for you. And my purpose is to reveal the potential that is already there and help guide you to your truest desires. And I'm in the Maryland area, so I'll pass it to my amazing colleague, Lou.
Hi, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everyone, wherever you're joining us from, whether you're here live or catching the replay, we're grateful to have you here. So my name is Lou Perica, and I am a success mindset coach. And what I do is I help growth-minded women who just want to experience more from life without the guilt, without the hustle and grind, to break through limiting beliefs and just align with their true potential so they can be, do, and have the meaningful life that was meant for them. Alicia.
Hi, everybody. Thank you, Lou. Alicia here from Sweden, and I am also certified coach and values coach, a mindset coach and values coach, and I help people to align their values with their goals so that they can create a life that feels good on the inside. And I also help leaders who want to be great leaders that want to lead the teams to goals and based on values also. So this is me. Thank you.
Always a pleasure, ladies. Always a pleasure. And also want to send love and success to Paul. We're basically one person short, but he's here in spirit as well. And I'm sure he's tuning in or watching the replay. So we always appreciate his mindset and experience as always. So, wow. Are you ready to talk about what we're sharing today?
Yes, 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 yes.
So, what came to mind when you heard this story, and feel free to just dive right in and jump right in. When you first read this story or yourself, what were your initial thoughts? Like, what was your feelings? Anybody, feel free to. And what we're talking about, well, it's called the 333 story. Okay. And we'll go in depth of what that is. But yeah, what were your thoughts,
Yeah,
Alicia?
for me it was thinking big and focusing on solutions, not the problem, and go from can we do this to how can we do this. It's like, because can we do this is more limiting, like can we do this, yeah or no, that is limiting. But if we say how can we do this, it's like yes, we can do this, and we need to focus on solutions, not on the problems. This is what it came to me.
Mm-hmm.
Mm, absolutely. And I just wanted to share with everyone. So, the panel here, we study personal growth, and this is what we're sharing with you, and this is what we teach and take our clients through. And after each lesson, there are these wonderful little articles. They're only maybe a page, a couple of pages long, but there's so much depth to them. So today's article, which is a true story, is called the 333 story, as Jamel mentioned. And just like Alicia said, I have highlighted here, if you can figure out why something you want to do cannot be done by law, you must be able to figure out how it can be. And that's
Mhm.
what we're going to be discussing today, using the universal law of the law of polarity. So that's what we're going to be discussing. So listen into this story because it's a great story. And the people that use this 333 method went on to use that for everything that they did. So let's dive in, shall we? Shall we bring up the article itself, Jamel?
Yeah.
Okay.
I had an idea. If you feel that it'll help people, and if you think it's a good idea,
Or we can.
it came to me this morning very abruptly. I thought we can show some accountability right here
Okay.
and on camera and read it for the audience since it's a short one and we can pass it between us and then share some things. No, at least it doesn't like that idea.
No,
Okay.
I don't
So
like.
we'll just
I
share
don't
some
like
topics.
reading.
You don't want to read it.
I,
Okay.
I want discussion.
You want discussion. Okay.
Yeah.
I was going to do both, but it's okay. So
Well,
we'll
let's
just,
give a
we'll,
brief synopsis of what we're
yeah.
going to discuss or not discuss or read or not
Yeah.
read.
Yeah, absolutely. Either way, for all the viewers here, this is going to be extremely powerful story for you to understand and how you can apply it to your life,
Mhm.
basically. So let's share my screen here. They're doing something new. Wow, new features. So
Only
here
with
it is. Let me
new
zoom in a little bit for everybody. And, you know, after reading this myself, I was blown away by the story. I was a little teary eyed as well because a lot of people were impacted negatively, but this turned into a very positive outcome for many people. And it also shared one of the universal laws in a wonderful way. So, Lou, would you like to kind of paraphrase a little bit that first paragraph, I guess, and kind of explain what happened?
Sure. So what got me a little confused in this story is there's actually three Bobs in the story. So when I refer to Bob, I'm going to be referring to Bob Proctor. And then the other gentleman was Templeton. There's another gentleman in there, Bob Johnson, but we don't really need to mention it. So it's basically Bob Proctor and Bob Templeton. So Bob was doing some seminars in an area of Canada, and just about 40 miles south of where he was doing his seminars, there was a great tornado that went through the town of, I think it's Barrie. Am I pronouncing it correctly? Barrie?
I
Yes,
think it's
Barrie,
Bari,
Ontario.
but Bari, yeah.
So when he pulled over, once he was leaving his seminar, he pulled over and he was just stunned by the devastation. I think a dozen or more people were killed, and he says there were cars turned upside down and houses smashed everywhere. So it was a complete devastation. And at the same time, there was another gentleman, Bob Templeton, who also was driving down the same highway and also pulled over as well to look at the devastation. But while Bob Proctor was looking at the devastation, he was just like, wow, wow. But Bob Templeton had an idea. He wanted to help the people of Barrie, Ontario, to help them in some way financially to help them get their life in a little bit of order. So Bob Templeton was having a different thought than possibly Bob Proctor at that time. And Bob Templeton was also a vice president of a radio station, telecommunications, I think it was called.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
So he was planning on how can we use the radio stations to help these people. So that's kind of where the story begins.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And the following night, I think you mentioned Bob was doing a seminar.
Mm.
And the other Bob, Templeton, actually went to Bob's seminar, Bob Proctor's seminar, and the other Bob Johnson. So basically, they went to see what Bob was doing, and they really connected with what, Bob Proctor was sharing, right?
Mm.
So they were inspired. How can we help these people based on what, Bob Proctor was teaching at that seminar? So notice how all these paths crossed, right? Two Bobs driving down the same highway, and they stop in the same place to look at this catastrophe, right? This hurt. I think it was a tornado, right?
Mhm.
So they were connected in a way, and then they went their both ways. But then also, Templeton went to Bob's seminar. So after that, things started to shift a little bit. Let me kind of get to the next paragraph here. So after the, what do you call it, Bob Proctor seminar, Templeton went back to his office and he told me it was late, but this one idea he picked up had him excited. So he had an excitement of how they're going to help people, basically what Lou shared here. So the following Friday, he called all of his executives at Telemedia into his office. And at the top of a flip chart, see, this part's important to kind of share a little bit. Do y'all think I should just read that part?
Sure.
Okay. So the following Friday, he called all of his executives at Telemedia into his office. And at the top of a flip chart in bold letters, he wrote 3 threes. So he said to his executives, how would you like to raise $3 million 3 days from now in just 3 hours and give the money to the people in Bari? So, of course, there was nothing but silence in the room. So, to continue here just a little bit, finally, when someone said, Templeton, you're crazy. There's absolutely no way we could raise $3 million in 3 hours, 3 days from now. So to get into the story a little bit, you know, Templeton said, wait a minute, I didn't ask if we could or even if we should. I asked if you would like to. So from here, let's kind of share a little bit of some of the things that stood out to us as they started this project. Lisa, did you kind of want to pick up?
I wanted to say that this Bob Templeton, and he became fascinated about the law of polarity.
Mhm.
And it's how it came with the idea then after, or the law of the opposite. It's the same, the law of polarity or the opposite is that everything has a positive and a negative part. So it's how he say, okay, this is a catastrophic moment, but what is the good in that, and how we could find a solution for the things, because everything has this opposite. This is what I was thinking when they started the with this idea. Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah, thanks for mentioning that, because that was the kicker, right? When Templeton was fascinated with the laws of the universe,
Yeah.
right? And he really connected with the law of polarity. And that's essentially what this whole story is about. And while we're talking about it, if you want access to this story, make sure you just reach out to one of us, okay? So that way we can share a story with you and even break down what's happening here. So yeah, once he started, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, go ahead and finish.
Yeah, so once he started, the law of polarity basically states, you know, everything has an opposite, right? You cannot have an up without a down, a hot without a cold, or in without an out. By the same token, if you can figure out why something you want to do cannot be done, by law, you must be able to figure out how it can be done. So people who accomplish great things are aware of the negative. However, they give all of their mental energy to the positive. So I highlighted that part because it really spoke out to me.
Yeah.
Yeah, Lou, did you have something to add
Yeah, I
there?
wanted to, up in one of the paragraphs, it says, when they went to Bob's seminar, they originally went there to see, they wanted to evaluate if Bob Proctor could help them with their company reach their goals. But while Johnson and Templeton were at Bob Proctor's seminar, they started to realize that Templeton loved what Bob was teaching and doing in his seminars because it was in harmony. That's a key word, with the way of his thinking, and Templeton became fascinated with the laws of the universe. I just want to read some buzzwords here. So he said Templeton told Proctor, um, even though it was late, but this one idea he picked up had him excited. So you have an idea. This is what we talk about with the goals. This is what we talk about. You need to be emotionally connected to it. So just an idea, if it's just a logical idea and you're not emotionally connected to it, typically you just won't even take any action. But this idea had him excited, and it also had him committed to the idea. See, we talk about commitment, we talk about persistence, we talk about taking action. And then later, a little further down, it says Templeton was going to raise the money immediately.
Mm.
He was taking action now because while he was still in harmony, in the spirit of the idea, that is when you take action. If he just sat on that idea for a while, it would have just faded away. So these are some of the words that I definitely highlighted, like excited, committed, harmony, fascinated, immediately. So just listen for these types of words whenever you want to do something, or you're listening to something, or you're reading something, pick up on these words because they truly are key to be emotionally connected to the idea and take the action as quickly as possible. That's what I
Yeah.
wanted to say.
Something that came to me and I put here is believe, and is that he believed that
Yes.
he could do that, he was so in emotional attached to that goal, to that idea that he could do that, that had he believed in that he could do that, and then he took the action to do that. So
Mm.
here was the praxis, the integration of beliefs and behavior that we talked before, that the praxis will be that, okay, I believe this, and the integration of belief and behavior. So as I believe, I behave like, okay, we are going to do this. Uh, yeah.
Yeah, this is really good. Yeah, I love both of what you're sharing here, because I know a lot of people that watched several of our episodes of Coach's Corner, and I know you have a goal, and I know you have something you always wanted to do. And here's a person, and we're not the only people that have goals. A lot of our viewers, everybody has a goal. They have something they want to achieve. Now, are you acting on it? Are you taking an action? Right? And that first action would be to contact one of us to help you with this type of material. So this person took action and came up with a plan. He had a vision and came up with a plan. So, which is very, very powerful, because when you're motivated to do something, regardless of what people say or how it's going to happen, that motivation, you have to act on it, because you can't, it just doesn't manifest without some type of action or interaction or some type of momentum with people and the physical plane. So, you mentioned a few things there that was so important to kind of express, because he was fascinated with helping these people that suffered dearly, right? And he was fascinated with doing it very quickly, regardless of 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 why it couldn't be done. Or, and what's special, to kind of move on here, he mentioned to his executives, he said, would you like to? All right, that's a very important question. Would you like to? He was appealing to the charitable side of
Mm.
his executive's nature, right? So they didn't ask if we could, or even if we should. Would you like to? So I would pose that question to a lot of our viewers. What would you like to do? Would you like to achieve that goal or have that experience? So, and what happens is they're taking action because they wanted to, right? So it's really that was a key thing that stood out to me. Said it was important for those present to openly admit that this was something they wanted to do. Right?
And
You're not
also,
gonna, yeah. Go ahead.
and also, Jamel, they wanted to do it not for themselves. They were doing it for the community.
For community. Yeah.
They were
Mm-hmm.
doing it for the community. So they were putting out good. And that's what I also love the idea is when you know you can help somebody else, you just show up differently.
Hmm.
You just show up, your energy is just a little bit different, right? So I love that they all got together and wanted to help the community through this devastation and through the times that I can only imagine. And I actually kind of Googled it because I wanted to know, and I Googled a tornado in Barrie, Ontario, and actually two came up. One was in 2021 and one was in 1985. So I'm assuming this one was in 1985 with the
85.
dollar amount and Bob traveling. So,
Yeah.
but anyways, I just wanted to add that. So go ahead, Jamel.
Okay. Yeah. And that's what makes this story so special because it was a like a charity, right? They're helping someone else. And in doing that, they learned an experience to apply to themselves. So that's towards the end here. So to kind of explain a little bit what this was, um, they said sure they like to, and he then drew a large T underneath the 333. So remember, it's $3 million in 3 hours and 3 days, basically. That was their goal. They put the goal right at the top. So there's a big T, if you will. I don't know if I have drawing capabilities on here, but you have a big T. And on the side, he wrote how we can on one side. And let's see, on the other side, why we can't. Okay, so you have why we can't and how we can. So visualize that. You got a T and you got that up there. So on the side of why we can't, Templeton drew a large X. So he put a big X, under why we can't. So there's no space for any reasons why they can't do this goal or achieve this goal for these people that a lot of their homes were destroyed, and cars were flipped upside down. There were millions of dollars of damage for this really bad tornado. So that just explains a little bit what this story is all about. So to kind of continue, when anyone calls out, so I don't want to skip too much. As he placed the X on the flip chart, he said, now there's no place to record the ideas we think of which explain why we can't raise $3 million in 3 hours from now, regardless of how valid they might be. So he continued explaining, when anyone calls, this is important, when anyone calls out an idea which suggests why we can't, everyone else must yell out as loud as they can the word
Next.
exactly, next. Thank you, Alicia. So that's basically
Yeah.
what they did. And they wrote why we can't at the top of the X there and why we can right where Alicia's finger
Yeah.
is. So, and when people said next, basically when everyone says, oh, we can't do that because next. So what happens, ideas are like, oh, I love this. So that will be our command to go to the next idea, right? So ideas are like the cars on a train. One always follows the other. We will keep saying next until a positive idea arrives. I'll stop there.
No, I think that is very good because we human always start like critic person, like criticizing or not seeing the possibility. It's like, oh, I want this, but I cannot because of this or this and this. And because we don't see how we achieve that, we abandon the idea. So this is very good, and normally I use this model, but I also use what I call the it is very, very known, the Disney model. And in Disney model is three different: the dreamer, the realistic, and the critic. So when you're dreaming, you put all the dreams, and then the realists want to do the plan, and the critic is like, no, no, this is not possible. This. So when you put aside the critic and the realistic and just dreaming, and here is what he does: is like, just dream. How can we achieve this goal and come with all ideas? So they close they put the critic and the realistic in a jail, and just the dreamer were allowed to be in there. So it's a very, very good. Otherwise, most people start with the critic, and then don't don't come up with ideas how to. I normally say to my clients, put all ideas, don't discriminate, just put the idea. So no discrimination of ideas. Yeah.
But I can tell you, before I really started studying this material, my thinking would automatically go to the negative side. It would automatically be, I would be well, what if? And not if, what if, right? Like the other shoe was going to drop. Because these are some of the phrases you would always hear, right? Good things don't last. You're waiting for the other shoe to drop. All of these things, that's the way I was conditioned to think. So naturally, when I would hear something, I would come up with the reason, the critic, or being realistic, because that's another thing, have a good head on your shoulders, be realistic. These are the things that I was conditioned to believe and how to behave. So my thinking would automatically go to the negative and look for the reasons why something couldn't be achieved. And then what happens, it snowballs, right? That one idea, just like, when you're making a snowman and you're rolling that small little snowball first and you're rolling it around, it just gets bigger and bigger. So naturally, more negative ideas would come to me. But when I started studying this, see, I didn't know. I simply didn't know. I was just behaving the way I was conditioned and programmed to behave and to think. So I had to take the effort to learn about myself, learn about how does my mind work, how do thoughts work, what's the connection between thoughts, actions, and results. I didn't know. I was really ignorant. But now, in reading this story, so now I loved, and you had mentioned it, Jamel, I also have it highlighted. Ideas are like cars on a train. One will always follow another. So if you can get the first thought, get that car going, right? Just think about how something can be done. And especially if you're in a room with other people, if you're masterminding, that first engine, boom, 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 right? It needs the power, that first thought, that first car. And then the other ideas. And now you're in flow instead of resistance and restriction. Like we often use the example of water coming through a hose. Just let the ideas flow instead of restricting the flow. And that's what I loved. I highlighted that. And when I started to
Wow.
It's me
Looks
or
like no, that's Lou. her,
yeah.
her
Oh,
thoughts her
while
thoughts are
she
so
come
powerful.
back, while she come back, this is the way of leading with a vision.
oh, am I here?
Yeah.
You're back.
I'm
Well,
back. I'm sorry about
Oh,
that. Now I forget. Oh, but why Templeton knew it would work because he was following a universal law. not just because Bob Proctor said so, but these are laws in place. So when you understand the universal laws and understand if you can think negatively, if there is a not so terrific side to a situation, there must be by law some good in it. So that's, but we have to try, I had to train myself to look for the good. I had to train myself to hear the good. I had to train myself to feel it and experience it and express it and take action. But I had to do all of these things, but I needed guidance. And like the rest of us here, we were mentored by Bob, but we also had a lot of support with one another and other people. So I just wanted to share that I would not have been able to do it just on my own because I had my own stinking thinking that I was trying to change, but my own stinking thinking kept interrupting. So I needed someone to hold my hand, guide me, and support me that was already at a place where I wanted to be. So that's a lot of what this also story confirms for me. So I just wanted to share that.
Mm-hmm.
A
Yeah,
little
I saw that when you were, this is like leading with a vision and not with the limitations,
Yeah.
you know, and something that came to my mind right now is like ChatGPT or AI. Yeah, they say that it's very important how you prompt ChatGPT so
Mhm.
it can help you how to do whatever you want. And here is the thing also, our brain is the same because it depends on the questions we ask ourselves.
Mm.
If we ask stinky, what you say, questions, we get stinky answers.
Yeah.
You know, and I come from the industry that you need to get prima material to the process because what you put in come out.
Mm-hmm.
So if you put in bad things, for to not say the wall, bad things come out.
Yeah.
So it's like how we prime our brain to ask intelligent questions. Like as I, so we started that, can we do this? Or how can we do this? It's two totally different questions. The one, the can we do this is more limiting because then the brain like, oh no, I cannot see the whole road to the goal. So no, we cannot do that. But how can we do that? Then the brain starts like, oh, maybe we can do that. Maybe we can do that. And then also the negative will come up. So the questions we ask ourselves is they are very important.
Mm.
Yeah, this is really good. And when we talked about having a vision, this 333 story, $3 million in 3 hours, decide how you can do it in 3 hours, in 3 days, right?
By three
So,
Bob.
right, in
By
three
three
bobs,
Bobs.
right? And you know what's special? Look at that. 333 is an angel number, right? And three bobs. There's a lot of synergy going there, right?
Yeah.
And that's known as a creating number, right? Creation. So you can get really deep about this story. But what that goal, where did it come from? It came from the fantasy, right? So the fantasy is you utilizing your imagination, which is a mental faculty. So remember with the stick figure, right? Now I'm becoming the prop guy. Remember the stick figure. You have basically you can see, hear, smell, taste, and touch. So that's how you interact with your environment and your conscious mind up here, and this is your subconscious, and here's your body down here. Okay. So basically, the imagination connects you to spirit or to energy or to God, whatever you believe in. So making that amount of money in that time, basically, he connected with spirit, with energy. And what was important, we spoke about earlier, he even mentioned this in that meeting. After we originate the ideas, how we are going to execute them.
Yeah.
And there was silence in the room again. So, you can apply this to anything, You maybe you want to raise money for people that, there's a natural disaster, or raise money for your community or whatever. But something I wanted to share a little bit that's really important was train of thought. Think of that quote, train of thought. So what that means is, as you think one positive thought, what do you think is going to follow? You're at a certain frequency when you start thinking positive things. So you'll think of another positive and another positive and another positive. And you do that all day, you're going to have a really good day, right? And you're creating a higher frequency within yourself, the law of vibration, right? So now, and also whatever's impressed is expressed. So now you're thinking about, how can we do this? Let's come up with some ideas. So there's that train of thought. Remember the quote, all the carts basically are another thought. It works in either way. You can have a negative thought and have another negative thought follow another negative thought, and then you're at a lower vibration. And whenever you're at a lower vibration, you're creating what you don't want. And when you're at a higher vibration, you're creating what you do want, and you're going towards it as you're attracting it, and it's coming towards you. So when they mention, the carts basically being one thought after another, I really thought about Earl Nightingale, because he said something about momentum, and your thoughts could have momentum. Kind of like he compared it to machinery. He said, think of like machines without having movement or without having momentum. They wouldn't work. Like from a stopping point, there'd be no engine turning, there'll be no elevator moving. Without momentum, there's nothing, right? So think about your thoughts in that way. But you also want to have a higher frequency and positive thoughts, because why create something you don't want, especially knowingly? Now you have this knowledge, you can really apply it in every waking moment. Just wanted to kind of speak on that a little bit as you were sharing.
Yeah. Yeah, I was thinking also about the tool is your thought, but then you need to take action, as you say, Jamel, that if you don't take the action, well, you can drive a car, you can sit in the car, but you need to start the key and press the gas to the pedal to go to draw. Or for example, if you drive a bicycle, if you don't do the action, you will fall down. And it's the same with our ideas. So everything is why he say take action. Is you need to take bold action. Sometimes it's very challenging to go outside your comfort zone. Yeah, because normally when we are stay in the safe zone, is because we don't see what is outside that comfort zone, and the fear will come. But the fear, is always built there. So you need to work with that, because you cannot say that your fear is like your friend, because it's like saying that the lion is your kitty cat. One day it will eat you. So you need to you need to go forward anyway.
What I also liked, when I read stories now, or watch a movie, or anything, I am able to pluck out all the things that we teach. That's what I love. So and as the story continues, as they're what they're calling nexting. So every time someone came up with why it couldn't be done, they just shout next. So they named it nexting. So what they decided to do was, put on if what they could reach out to the radio stations across the country, because telemedia only had so many stations in different areas. But the radio industry is very competitive, but they tried it anyways. And to make the story a little bit shorter, they did reach out, and everyone that they connected with agreed. They were all in harmony with the idea. They were masterminding how this could be done. They were co-creating together by cooperation. So you see, like, that's like when I'm reading the story, I have these words plucked out. And this is what we've been teaching since the day we started this Coach's Corner. So as you start to understand principles of success, the laws of the universe, you're able to pluck out all the principles that you've learned and studied, and it becomes extremely obvious. So again, as they started to come together, all the radio stations across the country, the energy shifted. They were picking, just like Jamel said, momentum. Now, everyone's in the spirit of achieving this goal for the people of Barrie. So I just wanted, again, to pluck out those words: masterminding, co-creating, cooperation, in harmony.
Yeah, it's something that came to me when you say that it's like they have a cause bigger than themselves.
Yeah.
So, and they were professionals. So we normally say amateur compete, professionals create.
Mm.
Here they created because they have a it's like we all also we are masterminding, we are sharing, because the cause for us is helping other people, is bigger than ourselves, is why we cooperate so that we can help people. And here is the same, that they have some so big cause.
Very good.
In
Yeah.
to the different, yeah, they didn't think, oh, but they are competitors, so they're like, no, we need to create this together.
Yeah, that reminds me of, when Bob Proctor shares, we're creators put here to create, right?
That's our purpose.
Yeah, and create whatever you want. And speaking of that, oh wow, that was perfect. Look at that. Let me share my screen really quickly on the article. They changed some of the stuff here, features. So speaking of creating, right here, you see, you can have whatever you want. All things are possible when you put your focus on how you can, and next, every idea telling you why you can. This may be a difficult exercise in the beginning. However, when you persist, nexting any and all negative concepts, the flow of positive ideas will roar into your marvelous mind. So,
they achieved the goal, everyone.
yeah, definitely, they achieved it, right? And more. We'll share a few things towards the end here, but they achieved the goal, which a lot of people thought wasn't possible, but they achieved it, like what was shared here. Lisa and Lou mentioned masterminding, right? We're masterminding right now, right?
And they didn't have social media back then.
Right, they didn't. And they were just in a room. And I think, were they in that room 3 hours?
Well, the goal was to raise it in 3 hours, 3 days from when they came up with the idea. So in 3 hours to raise, at that time, $3 million back in 1985 was quite a bit of money. Again, no social media.
Yeah, that's amazing. And so they did it 3 hours within that setting, they mastermind in that room for 3 hours. Okay, yeah. So look what's
Yeah,
possible, right? Imagine what we can do right now. That's crazy in a good way, right? And then it
Yeah.
said, yeah, he used Alfred Adler's quote, "I am grateful to the idea that has used me."
I
Well,
love that.
yeah,
Mhm.
yeah. And that's what ideas do. They use you in a good way. They utilize what you already have. You have like unlimited potential, but the idea is what pulls you into the unknown, basically. The fun is finding out how you're going to do it, right?
You know, this is something important with the idea that you get is that you take action as quickly as you can, because our mind start to talking to us like, oh no, I normally say it gives us a buffet of why you cannot do that if you let the, if you have an idea and then you are so excited that, yeah, I will do that, but I do this later, then that excitement started to disappear, you know and then the doubt and the fear, and yeah, maybe why should I do that? No, maybe nobody will do like that. So many people that are outside doing this, you know I was talking to a client, and he was telling me like, yeah, but there are so many people doing this. So yeah, wait a minute. Yeah, you have the H&M is the in Swedish, they sell clothes, and there are different other stores. I said, oh, why they don't say, maybe we're not to launch this clothes because we have already Chanel, Yves Saint Laurent, and all these other stores. No, they don't think so. They just decide, we go to this market and we put our clothes there, and then there will people like that buy Chanel's, other that buys other you know this type of clothes. So so we need to take action of the ideas before our mind take away from the idea.
Yeah, dismiss it. So I was thinking, I think you mentioned it last week, Alicia, with Les Brown, and when a person dies, all
Yeah,
their
yeah,
goals and dreams. Why,
yeah.
da, da, da. So when you think about it, where do our ideas come from? Like poof, we just get an idea, like poof out of thin air. But those ideas are spiritual assignments. They came to you for you to carry them out. Now, just like Alicia was saying, you can poo poo them and you can talk yourself why it can't be done and why you're not the whatever. But that idea will come to fruition and it will move on to someone else at some other point in time. But that idea will come, whether it's through you or through someone else, because they are spiritual assignments. So that's why when Alfred Adler said, I am grateful to the idea that used me, it comes a spiritual assignment, a spiritual idea, and it says, I'm going to pick Jamel to carry
Hmm,
this out.
hmm,
I'm going to pick Alicia, or I'm going to pick Lou to carry this out. And depending on which one of us accepts it, gets excited about it, and takes action, or poo poos the idea away,
hmm.
that idea will come to life through someone at some point in time. So when you can look at ideas that way, for me, that really helps. I think of it, oh, this is a spiritual assignment. It's using me, it's asking me to carry it
Yeah,
out.
yeah.
Maybe it will help you shift the way you look. ideas. And so, how many of us have probably had $1 million ideas? And we said, who am I? What can I? I can't. Da, 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 da. Okay, let me go over to Bill Gates, or let me go over to Elon Musk. Let me go somewhere else because they just poo-pooed this idea.
Yeah.
Right?
Well said, Lou, and I love that spiritual assignment. That is powerful, very powerful. And to kind of speak on that, it says creative, forward-thinking ideas literally breathe new life into
Mm,
every fiber of your being. They awaken a part of you that you never even knew was sleeping.
Mhm.
So that part spoke out to me because what that is, it's a C type goal.
mm-hmm,
A goal that really excites you, it makes you afraid. It's your want, regardless of how or how long or how much. This is something that really speaks to you. And there's that spiritual assignment. And when you don't act on it, when you get that idea or that desire and you don't act on it, when you get the idea, that's intuition, right? I always love that. Bob said, when you pray, you're talking to God, but when you receive a message or an idea or anything, that's God talking to you or spirit talking to you. So when you don't act on it, what happens? It just stays in that metaphysical or energy. So you're not applying action to what you received. So it'll dissipate, and like Lou shared, it'll go to somebody else, or it'll wait and come back next year or 5 years or if ever, right? So acting on it basically announces you received it, right? Now you're bringing it to the physical from the non-physical. So
mm-hmm,
now you're receiving your antenna, you're receiving, you're acting on it, and that's basically what they were doing in this story. They were receiving, they were brainstorming, they were masterminding, and then they acted on it immediately. To do that in 3 days at that time. This is a very special story. And what happened also, before we close here, I wanted to mention there were basically, it says 333 their wants. They're applying this to pretty much everything now. Many people as well. Bob shared this story with two of his colleagues, Jack Canfield and Mark Victor Hansen, and they were so intrigued by the story, they published it in their book, Chicken Soup for the Soul. And then they talked about how they 333 some of their wants and applied the same method to basically their desires, and were also successful as well. I don't want to kind of jump too far ahead, but we're pretty much there, right?
yeah.
So basically, it says a while back, Bob was doing a satellite television broadcast for Remax Real Estate with Mark Victor Hansen, and he was telling Bob that at last count, they had sold 6 million copies of their book. Chicken Soup for the Soul is extremely successful, right?
Mm-hmm,
So he also told him they are constantly receiving letters from people who read the 333 story and use it to perform similar mental magic in their lives. So everyone that's watching this, you can use this in your life. What's stopping you?
yeah.
Right? But of course, with accountability and mentorship, you become a stronger force, right? When you really understand what you're doing, but also having this type of accountability. Any of you wanted to share a little bit there?
I wanted just to say that remember that for every idea or for yourself, we have only two enemies, and this is the self oppression and social oppression that we um, let it, you know, like so. Own oppression is our thought, our beliefs that are not aligned with what we want, and we or limiting beliefs, and the social oppression is because we don't set boundaries. We let people outside ourselves dictate what we are going to achieve, and so it's very important to know that. I believe that.
Mm.
Mm-hmm.
I wanted to kind of piggyback on what Jamel was mentioned just a couple of minutes ago about there can be no doubt that creative, forward thinking ideas literally breathe new life into every fiber of your being. They awaken a part of you that never even knew was sleeping. So, this is why, again, the first call we did was on goals, because that idea, what it does, it pulls out of you different versions of you that have been laying dormant. They're all, we have so many, we have infinite versions of us laying dormant within us. And that's what the new idea does. It kind of wants to shake you up, right? Like, come on, come on. Here's a new idea. But if the conditioned mind says, no, who am I to, I can't do that. There's too many, I'm too young, I'm too old, I don't know the right people, I don't have enough money, it's not the right time, then it just kind of fizzles out. But there are so many layers to us. And that's what a goal does. It's calling you, come on, let's grow, let's grow. It's kind of pulling and tugging at you. And we want to allow it to accept the idea of your greatness. Accept it, right? Stop the resistance, because the power of life is using us as a vessel to carry out these ideas, to move life forward, not backwards and not stagnant. Life is always moving forward, and we are the vessels to carry those ideas forward for the betterment of all, of everyone. So this is, I think this is a really powerful story. Again, I plucked out so many of the teachings that we share, and anyone can do this.
Mhm.
Anyone can draw a 333 on a whiteboard with a big T. One side says why we can't, and the other side how we can, and put a big X on why we can't. Anyone can do this. So I recommend and suggest, if you have some sort of a big project as a group, or you can do it with yourself, to do the 333 and nexting any ideas saying why you can't. Get in the flow. Hop on that train that has one good idea after another. Get on that train and start 3-3ing your results.
Yes, well said, Lou. I love it.
Okay.
Well said. You know, a goal isn't just to get things, right? A goal is designed for growth for everyone. That's the true beauty of it. You become a higher version of yourself. And this 333 story, what's really special about it after I read it again, and actually I'm excited to 333 some of my goals as well. Because what it does, the more you do it, the more it becomes a natural part of you.
Yeah.
And your mental state, your the way you think, you're creating a better habit. There's a momentum within the momentum. Isn't that beautiful? Because the more you do this, you will always see every goal or whatever you want to do, and you'll see what you want, how you can do it, rather than using your imagination in an ineffective way on why you can't. Right? So now you're shifting your vibration every time you think about a goal. I'm getting excited thinking about this because I had to reread it. And let me explain why we started a little later, because I wanted to reread it. But rereading it allowed me to it's interesting because as we grow, we start seeing something in ourselves when we read the same material. So this was so powerful that we want you to apply this to your life. But, of course, reach out to any of us. All our call links are here in the description of whatever platform you're watching, because accountability, right? Let us help you with your 333. Imagine having some type of mastermind, with people that been learning this for a while. We're adding that extra momentum for you, that good, positive momentum, rather than, I don't know, if I could do that or whatever, right? We're shifting that. No more little kitty. You have a lion within you that basically wants to get out. And that's what life is all about. It really is. So please, any last Alicia?
No, it's okay.
Okay.
So I'm fine. Yeah.
Awesome. Lou, anything else you want to share?
Just train yourself to expect the best, even when it seems impossible. You have to train yourself. Like I mentioned earlier, I had to train my ears, I had to train my eyes, I had to direct my thoughts. But I had to be aware and mindful always, because I was on autopilot. I was always on autopilot. And I didn't realize that my awareness is in my power of being aware. So my power is in my awareness of my power. Sorry, got that all mixed up. So become aware of your powers and how to use them to create the life that you truly want to experience. That's why we're here. That is our purpose. We don't have to go out and, feed 10 million people. If that's what you want to do, wonderful. But I think for many of us, we think our purpose is this big, enormous task, when really it's just doing the best that you can every day, doing the best, because when you take care of you, there's a ripple effect. You don't have to change the world. You just want to become a better version of you, and there will be a ripple effect that does affect the world.
Good. So good.
Yep. That's really good. Yep.
Sounds good, right?
Yeah. As
Well,
you
thank
grow,
you,
you
everyone.
impact others. Yep. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. Make sure you catch the replay if you haven't seen this one today. And we'll be back next Sunday at 10 a.m. Eastern Time. And I'm sure it's going to be another awesome conversation and share here as well. And
It's on confidence. I just looked in my book.
Oh, you spoiled the surprise. Well, there you go. Yeah, this is huge.
It's a biggie.
Yeah, they all are, right? And,
Yes.
and was this the first episode we didn't see a prop from Alicia? Was this the first?
No, she held up. Well, she did hold up her.
Okay, all right. There's a prop.
Something.
All right, we're keeping the tradition.
That
All
was
right.
a big
We say
second.
that life is too short. So, yeah, go after your goals.
I don't have props. Oh, I have this one.
Yeah.
That was easy.
So every time you do something, you press this button and it reminds you, oh,
That's
that was
what you-
easy. That was
There-
easy. I have
there
my
you go.
clients get these. These are great.
I love it. Look at that. Well, I feel left out. Maybe I should start, bringing some of my daughter's toys. Maybe I can figure out a
There
way.
you go.
All right, everybody. We'll catch you next time. Have an awesome day. Apply this knowledge and reach out to us. We definitely want to help you.
And Paul will be back with us, I think, next week.
Yeah.
All right. Awesome.
All right. Take care, everyone. Bye-bye.
Bye.